everyone, this is Dragon Videos, and welcome back to another Best Character Awards segment, where this time we're going to go over some of the best characters in this show. Or more specifically, this year, in the year of 2022, we're going to go over a specific Netflix series. That's right, aside from the She-Ra and the Princesses of Power, we are now moving on towards Centaurworld. For some of you who don't know, Centaurworld focuses on a war-torn horse named Horse. I know the name sounds corny here, but just go with it. Anyway, Horse finds herself in a strange new world where it's filled with centaurs, creatures that are half man, half animal. And stuck in this bubbly, cheery world, though as we soon learn is far from that, we find ourselves cheering on Horse as she has to go through a colorful cast of characters and save a world from a secret evil force. Now, in this specific list, I'm going to go over some of the Centaurworld characters that kind of stand out, based on their background, based on what they've been through, and what role they played in the story so far. Bear in mind, these are just my opinions alone for these awards, but I felt like these characters definitely deserve some love from the fans as well as from the Netflix series itself. So without further ado, let's go over some of the best characters of Centaurworld. Oh yes, ladies and gentlemen, I bet you never expected me to do him on this list. But can you blame me for including him? He has been an enigma from the very beginning of Centaurworld, and he definitely intrigued us when he had his debut. What even made it more intriguing is his relationship with the mysterious woman, which, by the way, I do wish she had a name. And she definitely was intriguing in Season 1, but wish I could have done more with her in Season 2. Anyway, the Nowhere King definitely comes across as somewhat of a very interesting and complex villain. The reason why I say that is mostly because of his history. If you pay close attention to how he was from beginning to end, it definitely brings off a very interesting and complex story. You don't know whether or not you should feel sorry for him, or if you should just flat out hate him. But I feel like it'd be the flat out sorry part of the story. So, if you want a more specific recap of this, it's basically where it starts off where this guy is just a regular centaur or an elktar who specializes in making sure that the rift between the human and centaur world are set up and repairs, but he's not exactly happy of who he is and surrounded by people that kind of give him that vile reminder until
I don't know what was in that cave, but I loved hearing everyone sing about hiding from who lives there.
I will never do anything that would put her in danger.
Good to know. Your Highness, we should depart.
what makes this situation even more sadder is the fact of how the Nowhere King shows little resistance towards the mysterious woman. He doesn't even try to fight back when she kills him, just merely lets it happen. Overall, it just makes the whole situation painful.
I think we made a mistake. You're right. I should have invited you to
It's this realization alone that definitely makes you feel hit in the chest. I mean, seriously, it takes him that long to realize the mistake that his self-loathing caused, and later causes horrible consequences later on. Here's where it gets really crazy. I feel like whenever the general tries to kill the elk, he dies along with it. So this definitely feels a lot like the Skeksis and the Uru. Ironically, the Nowhere King is more of the Uru who's been corrupted over time. But again, the situation between this Nowhere King and the mysterious woman is just painful to watch. No resistance, no pleads of mercy, just this sorrowful mess that stands right before you. This definitely is a tragic character that a lot of people will forever remember in cartoon history. Both halves condemned to live in eternal fight until something is done. And this is why I put the character at number 10, because he's been through a lot of suffering. The Nowhere King is, ironically, the lighter half of the Alctar, the only one who truly loves the mysterious woman and wants nothing more than to end the sorrow and despair that he created for so many years and the war that followed with it. He definitely is a very struggling character and had some redeeming qualities, but I guess it wasn't worth it. And the reason why I put him in number 10 is because of the fact that he still is a very difficult character development, as well as he didn't have a whole lot of screen time. But you have to admit, when it comes to the end of the day, we find ourselves crying a little bit for this guy. Again, he's probably one of the most tragic villains of all time. Maybe not as much as Zuko and Ice King, but pretty darn close if you ask me. In the beginning, I didn't exactly have very high opinions about Chet. He definitely came off as a bit obnoxious, a bit of a bully towards Horse, and definitely seemed like the wet blanket of the group, who doesn't seem to care about anything else. Plus he also has that creepy handsome face deal going on, and it definitely makes it hard to be a very likable character. However, when you learn about his past,
I'm saying this, but that's kind of impressive. Well, I never. Just kidding. That is a ball. What?
holy crab cakes! I mean, seriously, why would anyone want to go through that horrible junk? This is painful to watch, and you feel so sorry for Chet. I mean, he's definitely become a decent character by the end of season 2. He still gets to be a bit of a jerk towards Horse, but he does have his moments where he kind of is that guy who puts that grounded reality for the herd if they get a little too carried away with their plans and ideals, and he's not without his soft spots like he was with Durbleton when they first met. He tries to be very respectful for Durbleton's situation and doesn't look down on it, mostly because he understands what it's like to be picked on. So that's why I put him this farther up on the list. Glendale is a very interesting character. You see, she has this power called Tummy Time, where she has this dimensional portal that allows her to actually store things inside her body and pull it out whenever she needs it. And it does come across as a very useful ability and a bit appropriate because camels are known to store fat and a lot of other objects within their humps, which is what allows them to survive in the first place, and why sometimes you'd see them flop around when it's low. But the problem with this power is...
Drop this! Hey! My evidence! Get out of my face! Wait up! You got nothing on me! I'm clean!
Yeah, you could definitely say she's a serious kleptomaniac. I really feel like I had to amp up some security because if you find your stuff stolen, it's most likely because of her. But don't worry, Wama Wink promised to keep an eye on her behavior throughout this. But anyway, she really is a bizarre character. She's a kleptomaniac, but she does have her good qualities. One of them is that she definitely has her capabilities come in handy. Whatever objects is needed, she's able to pull it out. For example, her kleptomaniac allowed her to steal back the key from the mysterious woman, as well as allow the group to reopen the portal and save them from the Nowhere King, which is definitely where her kleptomaniac stuff is a blessing in disguise. As well as Glendale really is a kind person. She does worry about her team, as well as giving them an object that they need. Like in the end of season 2, she was willing to give them some tissues, and also because of this.
Because I have all of your weapons.
She's a genius!
You can have them all back after this presentation.
So nervous, so hopeless, so drear. Is it the temperature that's got you down, friends?
Or perhaps it is your
Existential fear?
That's right, you see,
So many things can trigger the centaurs with overactive amygdalas, but that's okay.
Crafty as well as somewhat sympathetic and a voice of reason at times, Glendale really is a very fascinating character who uses her gifts and abilities to help others despite her anxiety. And she really is, well, an okay character, though there are more candidates that are really awesome along the way. The drama king of Wamawink's herd. Zulius is not afraid to speak his mind about certain things. He has a level of sass that is equivalent of a volcano, as well as he definitely has a power to set up drama, though it kind of sends tingles around everyone's spine. And though he doesn't look like it, when he has no chill, he's not afraid to show it, no matter who stands in his way, and does get ticked off. And when he gets really upset, he really expresses his emotions. Long story short, he's one of those guys that actually wear his heart on his sleeve more than Chet does. However, he's not without his bonuses, even though he can be a bit of an egomaniac when it comes to his own appearance. He definitely goes out of his way to help others with improving themselves in terms of appearance, as well as helping them view their inward beauty, as we see with Horse in season 1 when she's trying to impress the Cathars in order to get the medal. He tries to help Horse be more confident, as well as trying to be the best person or horse that she can be. Zulius really does go out of a way to help a herd, as well as trying to make sure that Horse helps with her objective. As well as, like, for example, when the bird tars were not exactly taking the time to actually get involved, he speaks in a language that they understand, as well as he has a good way of getting everyone's attention what it needs to be. So basically, he's smooth, he's patient, and definitely knows how to get your attention. Zulius is by far a very good character to enjoy. Durpleton's the heart of the group. He is probably the most sensitive person. Though in the beginning of the series, not many people would feel a little attached to him, because he does come off as not the most reliable member of the crew. And he is notorious for some really bad fart jokes. However, his becomes more endearing when you learned about his past, as well as his horrible childhood. Apparently, his parents weren't exactly that kind to him, and he struggles with being loved by his parents. And oh yes, things just take a worse turn from there.
I will not say anything nice until you do the things I require that you do.
Gah! Anyone else besides me feels like Becky Apples just kicked you in the heart? Cause that's how it feels like with this backstory, as if Wamawinks was bad enough. So it definitely makes you think of why Durpleton gets so weird with his farts and says, "Sorry, father," because it just reminds him of his PTSD, the abandonment that he had to endure during his time, which is also why he has such an attachment to Stabby or Hiss or something or other. I'm sorry if I don't know the name properly, but still, he starts to become a very loving person towards this now tiny Minotaur who has the body of a child but a mentality of a broken person. Anyway, when Durpleton takes care of Stabby long enough, Stabby actually stands up for Durpleton at the Hootenanny when they are basically facing off with Durpleton's parents once again. And also, in turn, this is where, thanks to his relationship with Stabby, Durpleton was finally able to overcome his difficult past with his parents and finally be able to move on. It's also thanks to his relationship with Stabby that he starts to grow conscious towards a Minotaur and tries to figure out of a way to, well, doesn't figure out a way, but he does feel like the Minotaurs deserve better than a fate worse than death, as well as feeling like they deserve a sense of compassion. Overall, Durpleton may not be the super fan favorite for everyone, but you gotta appreciate of how he takes the time to try to help others any way he can, even if he has a very strange way of doing it. It's also through his compassions that the Minotaurs actually took a turn for the better and not for the worst. She's classy, she's sassy, she is Water Baby, a hippo centaur who definitely knows how to get the job done. She and Wamawink go way back, like shaman school. Wamawink is kind of practically pushed a little bit, and Water Baby knows the potential Wamawink has in terms of her powers. It's just she struggles with it. One of the things to like about Water Baby and why she earns further up on this list is because she's a very proactive character. When something is wrong, she does try to help the Centaur group try to put their act together in order to find the keys in order for Horse to get back home, as well as taking on an unforeseen evil that is lurking around. And she's the only one who wants to get to the bottom of what the Nowhere King is planning. And as a personal opinion, out of all the Centaurworld shamans, she is the best one. I mean, there was the Whale Tar shaman who tried to help, but she has sort of like Blue Diamond's powers, so not exactly an ideal source of help. And the Treetars, forget it. Anyway, putting those aside, Water Baby knows what she wants to do and takes command of the situation. She could also be a voice of reason at times, regardless if it's Ryder trying to make sure that Ryder doesn't kill herself in trying to get everything that needs to be done, as well as having the general kind of get his act together in order to take on the battle to the Nowhere King. It was a very short amount of time, but she definitely had more screen time in Season 2 than she had in Season 1, and boy is she very smart and cunning, and she knows how to put things together. Wama Wink has her flaws. She's practically the motherly type of the group. She wants nothing more than to make sure the herd is safe, and is willing to bring anyone else into their group, like Horse, whenever need be. She also has very powerful magic on her side, and once tried to be a shaman. Not only that, but she can be overprotective in more ways than one. She wants nothing more than to make sure that the Centaur group, her herd, is safe from harm. Whatever is in Centaurworld, she knows what's coming and will do everything in her power to make sure everyone is safe. A little too safe, according to Horse. And sometimes she butts head with Horse, our main character, in order to make sure that Horse doesn't do anything reckless and doesn't exactly approve when Horse does something that is very foolish on her part. However, they slowly begin to undergo some terms as they progress further into the series, and Wama Wink does try to be a little bit more open to Horse's thoughts and feelings. Putting aside from her weird and strange merdude fetish that makes me feel like I would want to sign her up for a therapist, she really means well and wants to protect her herd. And of course, she's not without her own quirks of being overprotective, as mentioned before. But when you've witnessed the kind of backstory she's had, she's been a witness through war, and a lot of it. Kind and compassionate, Wama Wink means well and wants nothing more than to keep everyone safe and tries to be there for Horse, understanding her feelings and tries to take her in, as well as helping Horse adjust to the strange and weird customs of Centaurworld, as well as guiding her through the situations that she and the other centaurs will be having. And I put Wama Wink number 2 on this list because she's been through a lot and she just is that compassionate of a person. Out of all the characters, I felt Horse was one of the best written ones in this show. She is very driven, she is determined, as well as she focuses on what she needs to do. Maybe a little too much for her own good. But it also has a lot of heart in her character. So kudos to the writers for setting up Horse. So one of the things that make her a unique protagonist is her faithful service to Ryder, who I would put in honorary mention because of their interaction together. Horse is very loyal to Ryder, and of course has a mission of bringing back the key or the artifact to the general that started this whole war. But she gets stuck in Centaurworld and kind of sticks out like a sore thumb due to her military tendencies, which would always clash with Wama Wink's caring and somewhat smothering nature. And for a while, the two kind of get off on the wrong hoof, I guess you could say. And of course, she starts to become more vulnerable at having a difficult time fitting in a world where everything is semi-happy and bubbly, but still has those scars from the war all those years ago. And of course, Horse can't find herself relating to anyone at this point, so it is a very frustrating and possibly relatable situation in this case. However, when she starts to take on the powers of backstory magic and developed Centaurworld magic, it's by then that she finally understands that there's more to life than she originally thought, and that she's not the only one who suffered through it all. She learns each of her friends' problems and comes to a better understanding, and it's also thanks to that newfound power that she was able to take down the Nowhere King by learning the truth about him, as well as exposing him for the kind of person he is. In fact, one of the things just makes this so powerful is this moment alone.
He doesn't love you. That is not what love looks like.
Driven and secretly caring, Horse really has come far in her character, up to the point where, unlike the Nowhere King, she loves herself for who she is, as well as begin to accept her newfound centaur powers, and thus creating peace in the world. And which is why I let her be the #1 best character of Centaurworld. Well, folks, that's my cue to go here. I hope you had a wonderful time with this character awards, as well as a congratulations to Horse and our other wonderful candidates of this wonderful segment. If you like what you see, remember to subscribe, do a like. This is Dragon Videos, signing off.